Am I the a-hole for telling my brother-in-law I will never forgive his daughter and I have no intention of ever having her near my family? So the people involved here, me, 30F, my husband, 35M, my older sister, 35F, my sister's son Kevin, 14M, her husband Joe, 40M, Joe's daughter Kelly, 15F. My sister had a blended family with her bio son, her husband and her stepdaughter. I would say it was still a work in progress for them, but we all accepted and included Joe and Kelly into our lives. A few weeks ago, my husband and I organized a little get-together at our place to celebrate my birthday and for people in our family to spend time with our 6-month-old son. The people present were my sister and her family plus our parents, so very intimate and chill. Everything went well and nothing out of the ordinary happened. But some days after the gathering, my nephew Kevin came to our house and asked to speak to me about something concerning. For info, Kevin and Kelly attend the same school and have some mutual friends. My nephew told me that Kelly has been telling her friends that during the gathering she has seen her step-uncle's, my husband's, organ. She claims she was in the bathroom, my husband entered without knocking and he had his organ outside his pants, and this is how she ended up seeing it. This is absurd because my husband does not do this even when we are alone in our home, and honestly, who does that when they know they have guests over? So I asked everybody who were present that day to meet at my parents' house and confronted Kelly. She started crying and confesses she lied to her friends. According to her, all of her girlfriends have already had some sort of intimacy and experiences and she had none by this point. So she invented this story to look cool in front of her friends. I lost it. I called her a disgusting pos, a psychopath, and told her she risked my son's father's life just to boost her stupid social life among her friends. I told the rest of my family that going forward I will never bring my family near Kelly again. The consequences for this girl came fast. My nephew told everybody at school the truth. My sister and Joe went to school and informed the principal about what happened, so in case any teacher hears that BS they know it's made up so they don't take action. My parents cut contact with her and will not host her in their house anymore, and my sister refuses to have Kelly live with them, so she was permanently moved to her mother's place. Before you start judging my sister for this, please keep in mind that she has a bio son who needs to be protected. If Kelly could so easily invent and tell those things about my husband, who can guarantee she will not lie about her stepbrother too? Now Joe is obviously hurt and torn about everything that happened. He keeps telling me that Kelly is depressed and wants to apologize to my family, but I keep refusing. I explained to him that I don't need her apology and she shouldn't waste her time with this because I will never forget what happened or move past it. Joe keeps begging me to forgive her because she is just a stupid teenager, and maybe if my sister sees me forgiving her she will be willing to eventually accept Kelly back. I told Joe that a stupid teenager can have the power to ruin a man's life and reputation, so I am not risking it. Also, I fully support my sister and I want to protect my nephew too. Before Kelly was moved to her mother's, Kevin stayed with me and my husband for some days. So I don't regret my decision at all. I stand by everything that I said, but I feel bad for my brother-in-law. Regardless of how messed up his daughter is, he is a great guy, respectful, and he really values the concept of family and honesty. So I don't know, I guess I want to ask if I was the R towards him. Comment 1. The thing that everyone keeps forgetting is even though it sounds like an accident the way she told it, it could still end up with him being arrested and charged with indecent exposure to a minor. Even if found innocent, he would always have that stigma attached to him. People around here don't mess around when it comes to things like this. Comment 2. NTA. My sister's stepdaughter will never see my husband again. She almost had her own father imprisoned because of a lie to retaliate for being grounded. Short story 2. Am I the a-hole for only paying for my pregnant sister's meals when I can verify them? My 30F sister, 24F, became pregnant with her first child this year. I'm very excited to be an aunt, but I have had to balance that excitement with difficult emotional choices about how much financial support to offer. My sister has led a chaotic life in her teens to now, and frequently changes friends, where she lives, her phone number, etc. While I would love to be close to her, It can feel like walking into a hurricane. Now that she is pregnant without much income, I feel very guilty to turn down her frequent requests for money. However, when I do give her money, I try to go about it in a way where I can tell that the money is going to food and not something else. My sister doesn't do drugs, but the father of her child and on-off boyfriend has served time for federal drug charges for using and selling cocaine and heroin/fentanyl. I worry that the money I give her may end up going to something completely unintentional on my part due to his influence. Typically, when she asks for money, often to order food, I ask if I can put the order in through the restaurant myself or see the DoorDash order. Usually this results in her asking other people for money instead. Am I being too hard on her during a rough period in her life? I want to support her, but not in a way that could hurt her later. Has anyone experienced something similar? Edit. Yes, I have seen her ultrasounds/know she is really pregnant. Comment 1. NTA. She's pregnant and you're trying to ensure the funds you give her go to food. If she has a problem with that and asks someone else for cash, she probably isn't buying food. Comment 2. Don't give her money. If she can't afford her own life, she needs to not keep this baby. She needs to find government assistance or pantries. She will only take. It's not up to you to fund her poor choices. Story 3. Am I the a-hole for pretending to date my friend while his GF was with us? So, last night me, 23F, and a group of my friends, all between the ages of 22 to 26, mixed gender, went out to a local club. It all started out as a pretty normal night, lots of drinking and dancing, until what I assume was a bachelor's party walked in. Anyways, I was in line for the bathroom, when one of these guys approaches me and starts hitting on me. Initially, he wasn't being aggressive or anything, but he really would not shut up. We talked while waiting in line. Honestly, looking back at it, he was very clearly flirting with me, but admittedly I think I was just a bit too drunk to pick up on it at first. I went to the bathroom, did my business, and when I came out he was still waiting for me to talk to me more. I smiled and told him I was already here with people. I walked away from him, and tried to find my friends on the dance floor. When I couldn't, he grabbed my hand and asked me to go back to his table with him. I really tried to be nice and tell him no, but he wouldn't listen, so I lied and said I had a boyfriend. He replied telling me it didn't matter because my boyfriend wasn't with me, so I panicked and said that my boyfriend was here with me. This guy didn't believe me, and asked me to show him where my boyfriend was. So I walked away, this guy still following me, and saw my friend M24, we will call him G, standing at a table, so I approached him and started laying it on thick so he would get the message, "Hey babe, how's it going? Sweetie, you held on to my drink for me, right?" Etc. etc. G seemed to get the message and he wrapped his arm around me. The guy still wasn't convinced, and honestly I think he was just egging me on at this point and told us to prove it. I told him that wasn't his business and he can leave me alone now, but he was really insistent, and honestly a little scary. G looked at me and gave me that it's fine look, so I gave him a quick kiss. Nothing prolonged or romantic, just a quick peck on the lips to make a point, and that seemed to finally convince the guy, and he left. This whole interaction lasted probably 5 minutes. The issue arose when G's girlfriend F21, K, approached me angry and asked why I kissed her boyfriend. I explained the situation, and she got very upset, saying it was completely inappropriate for us to have kissed or touched like a couple would. She said that we had plenty of single guy friends who I could have gone to for help. Admittedly, our other friends were standing just around the corner, but G was the first person I saw. K is still angry at both me and G, saying that she's glad nothing bad happened to me but there were better solutions to the problem than me pretending to date her boyfriend, and I am in a hole for using this guise as an excuse to kiss her boyfriend. I'm saying that I had to commit to the lie I said while decently intoxicated, and was simply trying to avoid a creepy guy. Comment 1, you and G were tear holes. G should not have given you the okay to kiss him, when that is obviously a boundary in his relationship. You also could have taken other measures, such as calling security, if you were so threatened. Comment 2. YTA, you were in a public area, so even if the guy started escalating, others would have intervened. Clubs have security too. You made the choice to keep entertaining the guy, which is where this all went wrong. If you can't properly reject a guy, I'm not sure you should be in a club. Story 4. Am I the a-hole? My parents live overseas and stay each Christmas. Someone they know from their church also wants to stay with us. Background: my 31F parents live overseas. They visit at least twice a year, one of those times being at Christmas. While here, they stay with me and my husband, M31, and our 3 young kids. We love having them stay. Today, however, I got a call from my mum saying their friend George, in his mid-20s I think, who is from their church, who they have known for a few years now, says he thinks of them as second parents now, wants to visit Canada and stay at our house along with my parents for Christmas. My mum said they'd spoken about him visiting Canada in the past, but she imagined this would happen when they had moved back here and had their own place, so always said she liked the idea. George went to dinner at my parents' house yesterday and brought up coming to Canada this Christmas, to stay with them at our house, and my mum didn't have the heart to say no. She asked if this would be okay with us. My husband and I have never met George and am due to have my 4 baby in a few months, and it's our year to host Christmas for our extended family, so Christmas is already going to be a bit hectic. I just don't love the idea of someone I don't know staying in our house and being around our family and tagging along and joining all our family traditions. Nothing specifically against George, I'm sure he is nice enough if my parents think so. Space-wise, we do have a study that my husband uses to work from home. However, my husband will still need to work some days before, after Christmas, and I don't know what kind of dates George is thinking of staying. I told my mum, while I don't really want George to stay here, but if he gets his own accommodation, he can come for lunch at Christmas with the rest of the extended family. My mum was nice about it, but I could tell she was a bit disappointed, sad, and mentioned the trip would become a lot more expensive for him, so he might not be able to do it. I can tell she felt awkward to have to tell him he can't stay here. For context, my parents have always been people to open their home when others need it, so I feel a bit bad saying no and now making my mum have to pass the message along. I think most people in my position would have said no, but I do feel a bit bad, so just wanting to know AITA here. Should I have thought about it more before giving an answer? I don't think I'd change my mind though. Comment 1. NTA. This makes me uncomfortable, and I am only reading about it. Home is personal. You can be the nicest, most open person in the world, and you can still set your boundaries to not have a complete stranger in your house with your 4 children. I don't think it was fair for your parents to ask this of you. Your mom is in a tough spot now because of her choices, not yours. Comment 2. He shouldn't come, even if he has other accommodations. He doesn't know anyone in Canada. He would be monopolizing his second parents, leaving little time or attention for them to spend with you, their actual family.